Hi and welcome to Movies Suck. Here I am, back again with another story on Bounding into Comics. This time it's about The Boys, and I am somewhat annoyed and upset about this because I really enjoyed the first season of The Boys. It was just a fantastic series. Really, really good. It's funny, irreverent, pretty damn dark in places, and I was so looking forward to season 2. So looking forward to season 2. I can't tell you how much I was looking forward to this. But I'm starting to think that this might not go as well as we were all hoping, because we keep getting these little bits and bobs, and well, this one is pretty bad. In a way, I'm not gonna say this is all shit already, but let's just read this story and see what it says. So, Amazon's The Boys showrunner Eric Kripke confirms season 2 will include a storyline about the rise of white nationalism. Now, that's not such a bad thing, having a story about the rise of white nationalism. Okay, I can run with that. At least I could run with that when Stormfront, character that's going to be introduced in this series 2, was a man, and because the original character was a man, and he was a Nazi. I was cool with that because it makes sense. Rise of white nationalism, Nazis, all make sense. But let's read this story a bit further. Amazon's The Boys showrunner Eric Kripke confirmed the second season will feature a storyline about the rise of white nationalism. And when we read what he said is when we see where things have gone a little bit wrong. Kripke spoke with Coming Soon back in August 2019 about the second season and the inclusion of Stormfront and the changing the character from a male to a female. He states, "Yeah, our version of Stormfront kind of evolves over the season, and I think the comic book version of Stormfront, with, again, great respect to the comics, which I love, apparently, it's a pretty straightforward character, you know, the first lines out of his mouth are like, Schnell! He's pretty straight up, like a full-on Nazi, and it's hard to do reveals with a guy like that, but sounds like a fantastic character. Sounds like the kind of character that you could have a hell of a lot of fun with." I've not read any of the comic books, but after hearing about that character, it makes me really want to go and buy the comic books because I can see a lot of fun in a character like that. Says Kripke then details they decided to turn Stormfront into a female character because of the rise of white nationalism. And all of you back at home are saying, what? And I myself read that and said, what? But let's hear him out. But where the idea emerged, and without spoiling too much, what I'll say is, under the writer room mantra of bad for the world, good for the show, we're all news junkies, and we tend to pay attention to things that are happening out there in the world. And how do we use our superheroes as a metaphor for that? And I am horrified and sad to report that there is a rise of white nationalism. Where? According to what, where, and how is there a rise of white nationalism? What you mean is that the media are trying to report things as white nationalism. Every time those mad leftists shout Nazi at some centrist, you say, oh, he's a white nationalist. That person's a white nationalist. Oh my god, they use the word Nazi. Yeah, the left use Nazi for everything. They probably call burnt toast Nazis. They probably burn their toast and goes, oh, burnt fucking Nazi toast. Every time anything doesn't go quite right for them, I'm sure they call it a Nazi. I'm pretty sure because they call everything Nazi. So I'm certain that if you went to a leftist house with a label gun, they would just go around the whole house labeling everything a Nazi. Ladder Nazi, board game Nazi, bicycle Nazi, shoe Nazi. I'm pretty sure that's what they would do. Because they're psychos. And the idea that there is a rise of white nationalism in the world is also insane. There may be, you could say, a rise of nationalism, where people want to control their borders and things, because, let's face it, immigrants are causing a hell of a lot of trouble for a hell of a lot of places, and this problem doesn't seem to be going away and seems to be getting worse, so we need to stem the flow. We all know this. The only people who don't know this are communist retards. I hate to have to say it, but that's the facts. Anyway, he continues. And it's taking a very different form than it took in the 1940s. It takes a very social media savvy trying to attract young men and women form. And so we got really interested in creating a character that could represent that for us. And so, as I would say, it's not the version in the book, but I would say they have the same rotten soul. So, they decided to go from a male Nazi, who was very Nazi and just went, Schnell, Achtung, and things like that, to a female Nazi. I assume she's going to be a female Nazi. A female Nazi feminist. I'm not quite sure how well that works, but I'm okay with this kind of swap, but it depends exactly what they're going to do with it. I mean, they say they want to use their superheroes as a metaphor for the real world and what's actually happening, and they're going on about a rise of white nationalism. I can see the whole thing being quite fun, but it's a bit of a downer, and it's a bit of a put-off that they would decide to go with something like this. A bit of racism thrown in. I mean, in certain ways, as I said, with the character of Stormfront, where he is a clear Nazi and completely batshit insane, that just sounds funny as hell. But they seem to be implying that they're going to go for a whole big story behind this white nationalism, rather than it just being about one character who's completely nuts. So I don't know where they're going with that. But it's a worry, and it's not put me off of The Boys completely, but it's certainly made me question whether I'm going to watch it. And now I'm going to go into The Boys season 2 or series 2 a lot more circumspect than I was going to before I heard this sort of nonsense. So, it's a tough one. I really want it to be good. It might be, it probably still will be, even if they are starting to do, leftist things like gender swapping and bleating on about Nazis and white nationalism. These are all signs that things have gone a bit haywire. I mean, have they been getting advice from Marvel or something? Have Disney been breathing down their neck? Who knows what the fuck is going on here? But it's a bit of a worry, and let's just all hope that we're making too much out of this and it's all going to be fine. I'll just finish this story a bit quick. In that promotional piece, Aya Cash detailed that her character is here to blow up Vought. She adds, she's here to try and get Vought back to the original idea behind creating superheroes, and she can be quite the feminist. There's a lot of, I wouldn't say misdirect, but she is also a very empowered woman. I'm hoping that the feminism thing here is going to be some sort of joke, and it's going to be funny as hell that she's doing really daft feminist things. I mean, it could happen. The show's irreverent enough for it. It could be a lot of fun. But, that leftist Hollywood agenda, Cash elaborated that you start off this season thinking she's one thing, then discover she's another. You mean she starts off being like a white nationalist Nazi, and then they're going to find out, oh no, she was working behind the scenes all the time because she's a feminist and she's a hero. Well, let's hope that I'm not reading too much into a statement like that. Because you never know these days, do you? There are quite a few times where you'll identify with her as an audience member or agree with what she says. I think those are the most dangerous people. Season 2 hasn't had an announcement date yet, but, we will see. Let's just hope for the best. This has been Movie Sucks and I Hate Hollywood Agendas. Signing out. Leave a like, share, subscribe. I will catch you guys on the flip side.